London underneath a flight path. I'm guessing someone hadn't grasped this whole day out. Okay? Anyway, welcome to Tower Green. Ta-ta! The village green of the Tower of London. And unlike most village greens that you could discover across this country, where you might find a duck pond or a pub, something like that, we've got something quite unique on ours. Our very own execution site. Now that small paved area there, for those of you who can see it, must not be confused with the public scaffold up there on Tower Hill. Only a handful of people were executed down here, but 3 of those were Queens of England. And before I tell you about them, I'll describe some of the buildings that surround this area so you know what you're looking at. First of all then, if you see that black and white building in the corner, the black and white Tudor building, currently being guarded by the guardsmen, well, that is the Queen's house. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, that is the Queen's house. A perfectly preserved Tudor residence that still serves as the home of the Constable of the Tower and his family. And the current Constable of the Tower of London is a gentleman called General Sir Nicholas Horton. He left the British Army about 8 months ago. He used to command it, so he's a pretty capable man and a very loyal one too. Anyway, when he left the army, actually the Queen said to him, "Nicholas, would you come to my tower, look after it for me and the crown jewels?" He said, "Yes, ma'am, that would be an honour." And she said, "Well, you can use my house," which is what he does to this day. Now, being the home of such important officials throughout history, it stands that we've had some very important prisoners in there also. The Marquess of Tullibardine and Lord Lovat were held in there after the failure of the Second Jacobite Rebellion in 1745. At a much earlier period, it's believed the 5th wife of King Henry VIII, Queen Catherine Howard, was also held in the Queen's house. We had a very important prisoner in there called William Penn, and he was held in there for his offensive writings. Even as a prisoner, he compiled his controversial pamphlet, "No Cross, No Crown." He was released from there only on the condition that he leave the country. He did. He crossed the Atlantic to find his famous Quaker colony called
Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania, you got it guys. Named in honour of his father. Anyone here from Pennsylvania? Wow, wow, loads of you. So did you guys know your forefather was a criminal? You look dodgy, sir, I have to say, okay. Anyway, we had him in there for a nice stay. William Penn, there you go. Now, one of the last prisoners to be held here at the Tower of London was a man called Rudolf Hess. And he was second in command of Nazi Germany. And not a lot of people know this, but during the Second World War, if ever we caught hold of Adolf Hitler and we were determined to catch him, he was coming here to the Tower. But more specifically than that, he was going to go in the Queen's house. We didn't catch Adolf Hitler, did we? You all know that. But we did get his second in command, Rudolf Hess. And we put him inside there for 4 days in May 1941. But something was happening in Great Britain, September 1940, all the way through to May 1941. What was it, ladies and gentlemen? Thank you. Who said that? Thank you, madam. You're on fire over there. Okay. The Brits, okay. And the Blitz was a massive step up from the bombings. It went on for about 8 months. The bombing of all the major cities and ports right across Great Britain. Well, what did that mean for London? At its worst, at its peak, 57 consecutive days and nights of the bombing of London, designed to break the run of the British people and soften us all up in preparation for Operation Sea Lion, the mainland's invasion of Great Britain by Nazi Germany. Well, the Blitz failed. It wasn't concentrated enough.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, yes, but nevertheless, we needed him alive, didn't we? Okay, second in command of Germany in there, Adolf Hitler was furious. So, we had to move him out of there, put him in the countryside for his own safety. Got the information we wanted from him. Then after the war, we took him back to Germany, put him through his war crimes tribunal in Nuremberg, where he was sentenced to life imprisonment in Spandau Prison, Berlin. He was found dead in his cell in 1987, believed to have committed suicide. And if you're into your military history, ladies and gentlemen, read that one on Rudolf Hess. Okay? Right guys, getting a wiggle on now. Right across the back of the square there, you've got that long building with a clock on the side. That is the Waterloo block. On this side, guys. Only because this grass is for the ravens. Right, they get very territorial. They go for kids. It's great if you see it happening, okay? Not for the kids, but for everybody else. Anyway, right, so we've got the Waterloo block across the back there. Entrance to get in there, if you want to see the crown jewels and royal regalia, is beneath that clock. And when you go in, if you haven't already been in there, you are going to see some of the best rubies, diamonds, bling, that you've ever seen in your whole lives, or might ever see again. I'll give you just one example of a diamond that is in there. It's called the Cullinan One, the Star of Africa. And that diamond weighs in at 530.2 carats. Now, I'm a bloke, so I don't actually have any idea what a carat is. But gentlemen, if you do want to know, just ask the ladies amongst you, I'm sure they'll tell you all about it. All I know is just about that bit, okay? It is the size of an egg, and it is the largest cut diamond in the world by far. So absolutely fantastic. But as you're going through that jewel house, there is a warning. Ladies, please do not be tempted to compare that chip on your finger with what's in those cabinets and then start looking at your other half. Okay, you might just realise you've married a loser. True? Okay. And of course our government would insist that all that stuff in there was gifted to us by grateful nations. lots of guns around at the time, but we don't like talking about that right now, okay? Anyway, go in there if you have a chance. That's the reason why we're all here. The Great White Tower, built on the orders of William the Conqueror in 1078. And it took about 20 years to complete that under the direction of Gundulf of Beck. Gundulf, kids, not Gandalf, okay? He was somebody else. Our royal family lived and ruled from the top floor for 500 years. The middle floor was a banqueting hall, council chamber, accommodation for knights and their ladies, and the chapel of St. John the Evangelist. The lowest floor with windows you could see was for soldiers and for servants, that sort of thing. But there is another floor below ground level where stores and provisions were kept. However, parts of this floor had a far more sinister use as a dungeon and torture chamber. Here, the rack, scavenger's daughter, hanging in chains, and many other instruments of torture would have been used on those poor unfortunate souls. And that really was a dark and evil smelling place down there, ladies and gentlemen, lightened only by the torturers' candles. There is absolutely no way that any screams or cries would have been heard outside of those thick walls. Today, you'll be glad to hear it's brightly lit down there. Very little trace of its former use remains. It is in fact a gift shop. Torturous prices, I hear someone shout, yes. All right, and you can hear screams coming out of those tills all day long. If you want to go in there, go up the stairs on the south side, okay? Great views when you're going up those stairs. Gentlemen, anything you want for a fight, you're going to find it in that building, okay? In there for the gents, in there for the ladies. Right.